The new Apple Watch Series 10 is here. It has the biggest display ever. It's also the thinnest Apple Watch ever, making it even more comfortable on your wrist. And it's the fastest charging Apple Watch, getting you 8 hours of charge in just 15 minutes. Introducing the all-new Apple Watch Series 10, now available for the first time in glossy jet black aluminum. Compared to previous generation, iPhone XS or later required. Charge time and actual results will vary.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. No. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Good morning, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I've got Brian Fleming coming to us from Michigan on the show today, and he helps show podcasters and entrepreneurs how to say what they do from a position of value so that their podcasts and businesses will grow. He's a speaker, copywriter, and today's topic of conversation is going to be all about messaging and communication. I'm really happy to have a fellow podcaster on the show. So welcome, Brian.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, briefly introduce yourself and what you do, and I'm excited to dive into the questions.
Yeah, I'm a professional speaker, copywriter. I'm a combat veteran from the war in Afghanistan. I used to be in the United States Army. And the way I got out of the military, I got dinged up in Afghanistan a little bit. And so I ended up getting medically put out. And that's what actually led me to professional speaking, totally unplanned. But that was 17 years ago. And now, over the past 17 years, one of the biggest things I've realized is that we all have a story. And if we know how to tell it correctly, if we know how to say what we do in a clear and compelling way towards the specific people that we're trying to get the attention of, whether we're trying to just help them with our message or we're trying to create customers, whatever that is, when you know how to say what you do from the perspective of the people who you're trying to help, you will get a lot more interaction and engagement from those people.
Yeah, so well said. And my next question I have for you is this idea is clarifying value. And I had a coach as well, and just talk about how you help entrepreneurs and podcasters identify and communicate their unique value to attract the right audience.
Yeah, the way I do that, I come from obviously, like I said, a military background. And so my framework for life, for getting through stuff, is very much, it's how we plan and carry out missions in a battlefield. It's creating what we call in the Army an operations order. It's a mission plan. The tenets of a mission plan, the core concepts, actually translate over into civilian and business life when communicating. Because if you think about it, on a battlefield, our military, from the squad and platoon level, which is very small, all the way up to NATO multinational forces, we all have to communicate clearly and be on the same page with the same mission, and everyone has to get it. So the need for clarity, for considering life and death is the consequence of success or failure, is very important to be able to do. And so I learned a lot of this in the military, but then I learned as a professional speaker as well. But one of the things, I say that to say, a lot of business owners or podcasters, what they don't realize is their ideal listener is on a battlefield. And your job as the podcaster or business person is to know where they are on that battlefield and where they're trying to go, so that you can come along an airplane with providing air support in a war zone. You can fly by and you can show them where to go or what to do and help them get to where they're going. That is how you create lifetime loyal customers and listeners, when you're helping them get what they want. Now they're listening, but a lot of podcasters or business owners, they don't know how to say what they do in a way that when those people hear it, they go, oh, that's for me.
Yeah. And talk about the positioning, how you get in front of your customer, because, it's this journey, and then, like your ideal client is just doing his or her own thing. And how do you insert yourself into their world and just make them realize, oh, this is something of value? How do you do that?
Yeah, the first thing is I always say, don't show up with an empty weapon. Make sure you've got ammo, which means you have your messaging already like structured for the right people so that when you show up, you have something to offer. You don't want to show up and start shooting blanks and everyone's going, why is this person even talking? Have you ever been in one of those speeches where it's 40 minutes in and everyone's, I don't even know what this is about? That's a failure. But one of the best ways to get in front of your ideal people, especially if you're brand new, is looking for other people who already have your audience. Look for people who already have the same audience, and sometimes they do the same thing you do, or sometimes they do something different for that audience, but you're actually an asset to them because you can provide value in a different way to their people, and they can deliver it, much like me being on your podcast today. But at the same time, you get exposure to their audience. And so there's a nice little give and take there where it's a good match. And so when you do show up in front of that audience, if you're partnering with other people who also have your audience, you want to show up and you want to be ready to rock and roll. You want to have your value already ready to share.
So what's it like to buy your first cryptocurrency on Kraken? Well, let's say I'm at a food truck I've never tried before. Am I going to go all in on the loaded taco? No, sir. I'm keeping it simple, starting small. That's trading on Kraken. Pick from over 190 assets and start with the $10 in your pocket. Easy. Go to Kraken.com and see what crypto can be. Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss. Cryptocurrency services are provided to U.S. and U.S. territory customers by Payward Interactive Inc., PWI, DBA Kraken. View PWI's disclosures at kraken.com/legal/disclosures.
This episode is brought to you by Atlassian. Atlassian makes the team collaboration software that powers enterprise businesses around the world, including over 80% of the Fortune 500. With Atlassian's AI-powered software like Jira, Confluence, and Loom, you'll have more time to do the work that matters. In fact, Atlassian customers experience a 25% reduction in project duration per year. Unleash the potential of your team at Atlassian.com. Atlassian.
Yeah. What are some common mistakes entrepreneurs make in their messaging and how can they be avoided?
Yeah, one of the things is that they talk about what they do from their own perspective and not their customer's perspective.
Oh.
So, for example, with my podcast, I have a podcast called the Podgasm Marketing Podcast. And I literally just show podcasters how to say what they do so their show will grow. Because what I found, I've been on so many podcasts and I'm trying to figure out why they booked me. Because I'm reading all the stuff and I can't figure out what are they actually about and how am I adding to that. And so that's what really gave me the idea at first. And so I thought a lot of these podcasters, they don't know how to say what they do, which if they're inviting me as a guest on and I'm confused, do you think people who are scrolling through their podcast feeds on their phones are going to see their thing and they're going to magically get it? I'm a copywriter. Like, I'm trained to get this stuff. Most people are not. And so there's this huge disconnect. And for example, that's why I created my podcast. It is to show podcasters how to say what they do in a clear and compelling way so their show will grow. So I know exactly who I'm talking to. I know exactly what they need to know how to do, clarifying their marketing and brand messaging so it resonates with the right people when the right people see it, so that they can get some sort of desired outcome that they want. You want your show to grow. You want to monetize your podcast. You want more downloads. I could take that one sentence instead of saying to help your show grow. I could say, I show podcasters how to say what they do so they can get more downloads per episode. That last part, that's an outcome you want as a podcaster. And so that's just a very fast example, but that's exactly me doing what I'm preaching.
And a follow-up question I have for you is this one audience connection. And so what are effective strategies for podcasters to connect emotionally with listeners and keep them engaged?
Yeah, there are two things I always say, and I learned this just through personal life experience, but it's very true in how you communicate with whatever your message is, whether you're a professional speaker or maybe you're just giving a presentation, a one-off, or you have a podcast. There are two pieces to establishing this. It's connection and it's credibility, and I'll explain both real quick. In your audience's mind, whether they're live in a hotel conference room or they're listening to you on their phone driving down the street on your podcast, People are asking two questions as they're listening to you talk. They don't even know they're asking them sometimes. But one is for connection. It's the question, why does this person understand me? Or why is this person like me? It's just like this empathy kind of thing. Like, why does this person understand where I'm at, what I'm going through?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ways you can communicate that you do understand them is saying something like, if I was talking to a military audience, I would say, look, I understand what it's like to go to war and fight a war and then come home and have to readjust. I served with the U.S. Army's 10th Mountain Division fighting the war in Afghanistan. Connection. Everybody, 90% of that military audience has bought into me, probably 50% more than they did because I said that. They go, oh, this guy gets it. He's one of us. Second piece, credibility. Everybody's asking this question in their mind. Why should I listen to this person? Because you and I have heard people talk and we've thought, why are they talking on this? Or the advice sounds good. Can I really trust it though? So with credibility, for example, if I'm talking about how to have a successful marriage after coming home from war, guess what? In 2 weeks, I'm celebrating 19 years of marriage with my wife. And we got married 3 months before I deployed to the war in Afghanistan back in 2006. So I have some credibility there. If I had, like you, some initials behind my name, some doctor, some PhD, some MD, that adds credibility. Because there are certain things about people we trust if they've met a certain test or it's succeeded. Or maybe you've done the thing that you're teaching people how to do. If I'm teaching someone how to get paid, to get booked and paid to speak, sharing their story, I've done that several hundreds of, probably over 1,000 times now in the past 17 years. I know how to do it, and you can go Google me and see stuff all the way back to 2008. Like, you can see I've done this. So the credibility is there. Why should I listen to him about that? To learn how to do this. And so when you answer those two questions, why is this person like me? So you want to ask yourself, why am I like my audience? And why do I have the credibility that I need to show them that they should listen to me? Mm-hmm. That's how you connect deeply and powerfully, emotionally, but also externally.
Yeah. I really love that. And just how do you do it in this? Are there any special strategies or different things you need to do if your podcast is audio versus video podcast?
I'm not a total expert on what the difference is between like a YouTube podcast and an audio only. That's definitely someone else's realm. I know the guy who has, what's it called? Grow the Show. Kevin somebody. Schmidlin, I think is his name. I don't know him, but I literally just listened to a podcast of his like yesterday on that topic. But as far as both platforms are concerned, you have to realize that people make buying decisions, or in this case, listening decisions, based on the words you use or don't use. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that's ever been sold that was not communicated with words or somehow value was communicated, whether it's print or audio or you visually see the words, whatever medium of communication, it is words that make people buy and make people listen. If you have compelling, really targeted, highly targeted, compelling episode titles for your podcast, you will get more clicks. How listening to Dr. Lou's podcast changed my life in 60 minutes. Uh-huh. Boy, I'm curious what the heck they learned.
Yeah. So the next follow-up question I have for you is this, because we talked about powerful words and also just with marketing noise, there's just so much out there. And the guest just previous to you, he was just saying, focus on one thing and stay in your lane. But how do you, as an entrepreneur, how do you avoid getting into all these, just staying in your lane? And because I know people that are doing very well with just a Facebook account, like they're generating sales, and whereas I know people like with hundreds of thousands of followers on all their channels, and they get a lot of likes and stuff, but they don't really drive revenue. So how do you focus down and make sure that your strategy and technique is the best?
Everything I do is based on the person I'm going after. I know the mentality and the thoughts, the fears, the frustrations, the aspirations, the transformation they're seeking of every podcaster out there. One, because I've done my homework, and two, because I am one. And so I start just by focusing everything. It's not the whole look at me, I'm your hero. No, it's I can write a script out. I can write things out that describe the mentality of the market audience I'm going after very specifically. And I use that language when I introduce, I put in pieces and I pull out pieces depending on what kind of communication I'm trying to put together. But that's not just about why you need what I teach. It's about, hey, do you struggle to grow your podcast? Do you feel like you're not getting enough downloads and you're so frustrated with putting in all those hours of effort and money and buying a $700 microphone setup and you're not monetized yet? Or you're just wondering is this thing ever going to work? If you've been there, I understand exactly how you feel. So you see what I did there?
Yeah.
I'm speaking to the inside. We all have propaganda in our minds. That's what people don't realize. It's the thoughts and the narratives that try to demotivate us and drag us down. You can speak to that and you can bring people back up into a place where they want to interact with you because you're communicating on a level that they need you to, that's deeper, and they believe now more likely that you can help them get to where they're trying to go. And hopefully you can, if you're selling that kind of message.
Yeah. And it's all about psychology, and which is why I really love branding and marketing. The next question I have for you is, what role does effective messaging play in converting listeners or followers into paying customers?
It's everything. Again, like I said previously, a couple minutes ago, people make buying decisions based on words used. You can say the same thing two different ways. In one way, you might out of 100 people listening, you might make 2 sales. You say the same thing in another way, and you might make 30 sales. And it's like the product didn't change, the service didn't change, your passion for the thing didn't change. It's all about how you said it. And when you know how to say what you do from a clear and compelling position, that hits different parts of people's minds, and they go, "Oh man, yeah." That's exactly like, I've had people, this is no joke, and it's not blasphemous. I've literally had people tell me it felt like God was talking to them through me. Because that, or, oh man, it's like you're reading my mail, or I feel like God is talking to me through you. And that's a huge compliment. And hopefully, in a very good way, maybe he was, and whatever your idea of that is. But the truth is that I've done my freaking homework on the people I'm trying to help. And I know exactly what they need, and I know how to talk to them. But I did the work and learned that. And it's not that hard. That's why I teach it.
Yeah. A follow-up question I have for you is, because you've had experience as a public speaker, and how has that influenced your approach to brand messaging and marketing in podcasting? Is it same? Is it different? Or are there any different tweaks that you need to do?
Yeah, when I learned how to write clear brand messaging, the keynote speech I've been giving for 12 years, oh my gosh, it started converting way more like crazy. Because learning how to have a clear brand message, it made me a better speaker. Because when I would write my speech out, when I would play with it and just put this here, I'll say this there, and I was doing it, it made me a better speaker. Then whenever I have a podcast, it's a lot of the same elements. The medium through which you deliver it, whether it's a 45-minute keynote or an hour-long or 30-minute podcast, it doesn't matter. There are certain concepts of communication that when you know how to use them, they just work. It's like headline structures. There are certain headline structures that if you will use those and put in your words and pull someone else's out, which that's not plagiarism, you're just modeling. You have to put your own information in. But look what they did. Why did you see a headline on a YouTube video that you just had to watch? Like, it's like you couldn't, like you had to click it. There's a reason. You can use that same headline structure, but take out a word or two that they used and put in words that your audience relates to and about things they want to get or want to avoid. And suddenly you have all these clicks and downloads, and you might be thinking that wasn't even my greatest episode quality. It doesn't matter. The wrapping paper was more appealing. In that case, the title to the episode, for example.
Yeah, interesting. How can people find out more about you and reach out to you and check you out? And I know because you talk about helping entrepreneurs grow their podcasts? How can they reach out to you to help them do that?
Yeah, whether you're a podcaster or a business owner, go to podgasmshow.com. All right, that will get you in touch with me. All right. And I have a free resource there. And it works whether you're a business owner, podcaster, or both. It's called the Speak Your Listeners Language. And it shows you a very simple way. It's like a 3-page PDF. It's stupidly short. And I have 6 or 7 points in there that are literally fill in the blank. And it will show you how to clarify your branding and marketing message, so that more of the right people will show up and want to engage with you. And here's the deal. I not only tell you what to do and fill in the blank of these 8 or 9 points, but then I have an example paragraph with fill in the blanks. And then I give you an example of me doing what I'm saying. And then you can literally just see, oh my gosh, that's how that works. Like I'm literally handing it to you. Like I've charged money for this thing, but I'm giving it for free. And you can literally use like that paragraph to describe what you do. And I dare you, anyone listening, to go around, go through that exercise, and then go start saying that to the people in your target market. Watch what happens. They go, oh my gosh, I'm so curious now. What? Really? It's wild. It's all about how you say it. So go to podgasmshow.com, grab that Speak Your Listeners Language. It's a free PDF that'll put you on my email list, so I can send you more things about every now and then about how to say things in a way that'll grow your show or grow your business. And look, you don't want to be on my list? Fine. Literally at the bottom, there is a button that says unsubscribe. Go click it. I'll never email you again. I don't even care. I only want people on there that want to be on there. But I send out tips and I show you how to just say things in a way that just helps. And if somebody wants to work with me personally, I do take on a few clients a month where I draw a 1-page battle plan that I do it for them. And I go, all right, here's all your ammo. Here's the plan. Here's the key 4 or 5 messages you need for your podcast or business. Go have fun. And they didn't have to do any of that mental gymnastics or work. So I have fun with it. I like doing it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the conversation. And for all the audience, be sure to check out Brian's links in the show notes. Give him a follow, reach out to him. And I really love the work that you're doing. So keep it up.
Oh, thank you. You too, for sure.